Suns trade rumors are heating up as rumors are escalating that a new trade candidate could be available from the Phoenix Suns. So will James Jones, will Matt Ishbia potentially give away a player in Grayson Allen, who has been struggling so far dealing with some injuries with a tradable contract? Has he not been fitting in his role with Mike Budenholzer's offense, or is it just a slow start for the sharpshooter? We're going to be diving in and looking at all of this, and is he a good trade candidate for the Suns? In this episode of Suns Digest, I'm Bruce Velez. And like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support on the channel. Thank you guys so much. Without further ado, let's dive into the video at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack. And like I said in the introduction, we got a new trade report, as the Phoenix Suns have had some numerous trade reports over the last couple of days. In our recent video yesterday, we looked at a Josh Okogie one coming from Michael A. Scotto, and today we're going to be looking at one from Evan Cedery. If we want to look at this trade report, like I mentioned, it is going to be involving Grayson Allen, but he says after signing a 4-year, $70 million extension, Grayson Allen is a potential trade candidate to monitor for the Suns. Allen's $15.6 million salary could be utilized to help Phoenix attain a championship level upgrade. Allen is averaging 10.7 points in 23.1 minutes per game. And for the Suns, Allen has had a little bit of a slower start to the season compared to last. Like I mentioned, adjusting to a new role, dealing with some injuries. Allen is averaging 10.5 points and 2.7 rebounds, 1.3 assists on 39% shooting from the field and 34% shooting from three, which are not like the numbers he was having last season. Now, if we want to go back and kind of look at this possible trade and kind of going over why Allen has been struggling. Like I mentioned, the injuries have come in. He's dealt with an Achilles earlier on in October that had him out for a little bit of the season. He then was out for personal reasons with the birth of his newborn child. And then Allen was also dealing with some hamstring tightness earlier last month in November. And Allen, like we mentioned, is on a bit of a tradable contract for the Suns. He's making around $15 million this season, and it is increasing. And as we mentioned with this Suns team as well, kind of going over this squad, it's a little bit difficult to kind of do trades with the Suns being the second apron. We all know the Suns cannot aggregate salaries together, and they cannot aggregate and combine salaries together to trade for a player, and they cannot acquire a player that they trade out for more money than they send out. So if the Suns were to trade a player in Grayson Allen away, or look to make an upgrade, so one of these kind of players would have to be moved if the Suns wanted to get any substantial player back with some salary. And Allen being, the fifth highest player, making $15 million and not having the best season in his new role could be a reason why he could be on the move. Like I mentioned, unfortunately for Allen, has been dealing with those injuries, has had this new role with the Suns. But last season, we saw Grayson Allen be that premier three-point shooter for this Suns team. We saw him be very, very explosive and that needed three-point shooter with players like Bradley Beal dealing with injuries and Devin Booker prioritizing more of a playmaking guard. But obviously, with the additions of Tyus Jones and Monte Morris, those point guarding and playmaking duties have been relieved from the guards of Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, and has allowed them to be those three-point volume scorers alongside Kevin Durant. And we've seen all three of those players really excel and look solid so far in that ascension. Now, obviously, Grayson Allen going into that six-man role, a lot of people thought he would still bring up his solid three-point shooting, but it just hasn't been that for Allen. He also had put on some muscle, which not a lot of fans want to bring to blame, but could be a possible reason for his shooting slump so far, or it could just be a cold start to the season. Ultimately, Allen, I think, is a valuable piece, as he is a 3 and D wing, but not much that great defensively, but is a pretty solid shooter off the wing and one of the league's better 3-point shooters if he's in a solid system or if he is on fire. And for the Suns, he could turn back into that player. But with the Suns having players like I mentioned in Josh Okogie, Royce O'Neal, Ryan Dunn, and Grayson Allen all kind of coming off the bench, kind of playing similar roles, it could be the writing on the wall for Grayson Allen, as he does make a little bit more than some of those guys. Royce O'Neal could also be thrown in those conversations, as he recently just got extended as well. But ultimately, I think that a player in Royce O'Neal so far has proven his legitimacy with Mike Budenholzer in this offense and has really taken over as that three-point scoring wing off this bench. Ryan Dunn has had some shooting discrepancies throughout the start of the season after a red-hot preseason, but he's solid on the defensive side. And Okogie's offense has really shined bright so far for Phoenix in his best offensive season, where he's having his best shooting numbers so far while playing some solidified defense. I think having those three players on the bench with possibly moving Allen could be the move, but like I said, Suns fans could want to keep Allen, and Allen could be still a piece to keep as he is not one of the major issues with this Suns roster. So let me know what you think down below in the comment section on the potential of trading Grayson Allen as we get into the next part here, which is going, is this likely? And ultimately, I am going to come out and say that I don't think Grayson Allen is going to get traded from this Phoenix Suns roster. Personally, I do think that the Suns valued Grayson Allen's three-point shooting, and I do think they think he is in a cold start. And I think that he was a major part and reason of why Tyus Jones came here as well, being Duke teammates and willing to take that sacrificial role of coming off the bench to make sure that Tyus could start and still get a contract on a pretty solid championship contending team. And those are things you have to value from Grayson. And if the Suns ultimately want to keep Tyus Jones as well locked up on this roster potentially for the future, keeping a player like Grayson Allen could be a player to not want to get rid of. So I could see the Suns not wanting to move off of him and looking to move off some other potential pieces. Like I said in yesterday's video, we talked about Josh Okogie. He makes $8 million, and even though he is a little bit of a more tradable piece as his salary is non-guaranteed next year, so a team could take him on and then ultimately waive him going into next season if he doesn't fit their timeline or ultimately doesn't look the best on their team. I think that at an $8 million contract, the Suns would find some difficulty finding some good role players that can make some immediate impacts. I think with Allen's $15 million, it makes it a little bit easier to find a guy to help out in that big man rotation. But ultimately, I think the Suns will likely keep Grayson Allen on this roster. I think he's just in a cold shooting slump, and I think he will regain back to his shooting premise or shooting promise that we saw last season. Even if it's not to that best ability, he can consistently get hot and be an impact piece for the Suns off the bench this year. But want to talking about another possible trade piece and possibly even hinting at tomorrow's video. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about another trade piece and a guy in Yusuf Nurkic. As Yusuf Nurkic is now a player that could possibly be gouged on that trade market. I know how Suns fans feel about that. So if you're excited for that video, make sure to get into tomorrow's episode. Like I said as well, let us know what you think down below in the comment section. Ultimately, on this Grayson Allen news, and make sure to stay tuned as CJ will be coming out with a video detailing all the stuff on Kevin Durant as well. If you guys did enjoy the content, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to hit the subscribe button to help CJ and I get to 2,000 subscribers, and we appreciate all the support that you guys give us on Suns Digest, so drop down your comments down below as well. Like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys so much for showing your support. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your night, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.